to me, the EV mouthpieces, everything they say comes back to bite them. Honestly, they must be punch drunk by now. They must be sick of being on the ropes and getting battered, pummeled about the head. Throw the towel in. Admit you've been lying and just hold your hands up and say, I'm sorry, Baz was right, we've been lying all along, we're propping EV sales up, we've lied about how many we've sold, we've lied about waiting lists, we've lied about everything, we lie about range on cars, we lie about how cheap they are to run, we lie about tyre wear, we lie about brake wear. Everything. We lie about fires. We fire chaff into the air to confuse everybody. When somebody's got a point, we send in bots to call them names and to confuse people into thinking, well, you know, all these people say he's wrong. He seems pretty confident he's right, but can all those people be wrong? Can all those bots be wrong?
Good morning, Mr. Hunt. Your mission impossible, should you choose to accept it, is to show salespeople in the UK how to get rid of their EVs. For fuck's sake, Ethan. I suppose you think that was funny. I meant show them how to sell, not blow them up.
The EV mouthpieces and the ones who, in order to counteract the depreciation argument, it's cheaper to run an ICE car than it is to run an EV. If you buy them the same price, an EV is more expensive new by thousands of pounds, and then at 12 months old with the same mileage and the same spec, it's cheaper than an ICE car. So it's devalued by a whole lot more. And when you take that into account, you may as well just buy petrol. When you take into account that an EV is dirtier to produce and it doesn't catch up with an ICE car until about 23,500 miles. So by producing more EVs now that aren't selling, we're making our air worse. Okay? We're making our air worse. It's stupid. And they come up with arguments that the air's getting dirtier and we need to sell more EVs. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, isn't it? It's like, do you know what it reminds me of? It's almost like inventing a cure for something. Okay, now bear with me here. Bit of a conspiracy theory. Inventing a cure for something. In fact, that's the whole plot of Mission Impossible 2, isn't it?
Things haven't exactly worked out the way you thought they would, Ethan. Sorry.
And isn't that named after a TVR as well? Was it Chimera? Was it Chimera virus? I'll have to look, but I'm sure it was named after a TVR. Apparently it's harder to get rid of than a second-hand TVR Chimera. So you invent a cure, and then you have to manufacture a disease. So the cure is EVs, the disease is too much CO2, and you make EVs and it makes more CO2 than an ICE car. It's unbelievable, isn't it? It's like, say for instance, how would you make a lot of money out of that idea? What about if you could shut the world down? So the depreciation, the way to get around depreciation, they all say this, the battle cry of the weary EV mouthpieces, I lease mine. Depreciation doesn't affect me. I've got mine on a PCP, I just hand it back. Well, it does affect you because depreciation is calculated. You've got your depreciation, you've got your profit, and you've got your interest, and what the vehicle is projected to be worth in the future, and you put all those together and then divide it by 36, 48 or whatever, and that's your lease payment. The EV boys thought they'd got it right because used EVs, because there was such a long waiting list with all those cars parked up in places, they were holding the value. But when it came to light that was just a big myth, they were just registered, and they're still coming out now from years ago that with 2 owners and delivery miles. So when they couldn't keep up the pretense, or probably when they ran out of money, keep paying for EVs to be built and then parked up. If EV residuals kept up, they'd be able to introduce them further down the line as used vehicles and not lose a load of money. We know how that's gone, don't we? Massive discounts on EVs, massive. And they still can't sell. They can't sell them with massive discounts on them. So what does our government do? It thinks, what can we do to help? I know, we'll give some more discounts. Because 10 grand before, that wouldn't sell them. But 11.5, they'll be flying off the shelves again. So the leasing companies, I've told you before about the leasing companies in the BVRLA. Half those people that have made that EV myths fact sheet against the, against big oil telling lies and people misinformation. You can save so much with an EV by running an EV in 12 months. The dealers knocking 1,500 quid a month off while they're in stock. But you as a private, if you buy one now, you save £1,500 a year. It's just garbage. Really is garbage. It's laughable. Just go on Auto Trader, get yourself in the Chrome browser, Auto Trader price tracker, and that'll show you how much each car has been reduced over the time it's been for sale. And you work out how you think you could save £1,500. You can't, trust me. So the leasing companies are losing a fortune with these vehicles, and they've got to keep buying them. They buy them a heck of a lot cheaper than you can. I did a video last week. EV cars, buy one, get one free. 50 to 55% discount. So they buy 2 cars for the price of one, really. And vans, there was actually 66% off on. So you buy one and you get 2 free. It's like Auto Trader do a raffle every month. First prize is an EV. Second prize, 2 EVs. It's that stupid. It's that stupid. So, let's get back to your story. So the EV mouthpieces, yeah, but lease it. Depreciation doesn't bother me. It does, because that's how your price is made up. It's just that you're too stupid to realise. So let's have a look at this. This story, Motor Trade News, August the 1st, a couple of days ago. What date is it now? Blimey, is it that date? I'm going away in 10 days. It's the 5th. So here we go. Support for EV residual values is crucial to leasing affordability. While the recent government announcement on support for new electric vehicles, EVs, is welcome, it did not address the weakening of residual values for used electric vehicles. The leasing industry, which has been primary investor in EV uptake, has called for a reduction in VAT from 20% to 10% on used vehicle sales and a £1,500 grant for vehicles under £45,000. Yet these measures were noticeably absent. The importance of the leasing sector. The leasing sector accounts for 3 out of 4 new EV purchases. 3 out of 4. Thanks largely to the widespread adoption of salary sacrifice tax bribe. So they're getting a fortune in discount, they're getting massively reduced tax, and they still can't sell them. Ask yourself why. 3 out of 4 new EV purchases, thanks largely to the widespread adoption of salary sacrifice schemes among major fleet operators. EVs now account for around 54% of the business contract hire BCH fleet mix. However, the financial viability of this model is under serious threat. Residual values for EVs have fallen by as much as 32% since 2022, and then some. They fall by 32% before they even get out the showroom, mate. compared to a decline of just 7.8% for internal combustion vehicles. What's 32% divided by 7.8? Well, let's get it exactly. Hey Siri, what's 32 divided by 7.8?
32 divided by 7.8 is approximately 4.1025.
So EVs have gone down 4 times more than ICE cars. Again, somebody put the other day, this story's, that you're spouting rubbish. Motor Trade News. This poses a significant risk to funders holding these assets and is understandably making them more cautious about future EV investments. As a result, lease rentals are rising, which only worsens the affordability issues. There's also concern that recent government subsidy for new EVs could further erode residual values, cancelling out part of the benefit of the grant. Well, of course it is. The grants, it's worthless. It's just a figure written on paper because it will have a knock-on effect. Makes it cheaper to buy, but then it'll be worth less second-hand. It's stupid. It's a stupid idea. Only the Labour government could think of it. Only this transport minister that we've got could think of it. Only people like leasing companies could push for it. Turkey's voting for Christmas. Add to this the upcoming vehicle excise duty, VED charges, the introduction of new Chinese brands which are likely to be aggressively priced, and the fast pace of technological change which makes older models less attractive, and it's clear the used EV market is under extreme pressure. As we move towards full implementation of EVs, projections suggest the market could shrink by up to 220,000 vehicles between now and 2027 as people keep their ICE cars because they don't want to replace it with an EV. I'm just like, all these words are very, very clever, but I'm just a simple guy, so I'd rather just shoot from the hip. The lagging private market. The private market, which forms the backbone of used vehicle sales, is not showing signs of adopting battery electric vehicles at scale. Oh, but they're flying off the shelves. Auto Trader, 15 times more people view used EVs than view new ones. 15 times more. But yet, EVs should be being snapped up. Last year they only accounted for 2.5% of the used car market. Out of 7.5 million, they were 2.5%. The actual market went up between 5.5 to 5.7%. EVs didn't even make up half the amount the market increased by. In 2024, only 1 in 10 private buyers chose a new EV, compared to over 25% of fleet sales and 54% of BCH orders driven by salary sacrifice demand. This disconnect is critical. Used EVs currently account for only around 13% of the overall used market, lagging well behind the new market share and well below the 28% target set by the ZEV mandate for 2025. Recent figures show that used EV values dropped again in May as stock levels hit their highest point this year, reversing several months of modest gains. Now, this month, I expect you'll see that EV used prices have gone through the roof. There's been some very, very strange pricing on certain people's websites. And again, thanks to AT Price Tracker, you can actually see what they do rather than guess. And so again, big shout out to them. AT Price Tracker, get the Chrome extension, get AT Price Tracker plugin, and it don't cost anything. And when you load Auto Trader up each car, you'll see what it was and when they advertised it. It'll open your eyes. Look at EVs. You look at this month, they'll be telling you that EVs have stabilised and actually gone up. That's one of the EVs that was in the auction that had a damaged battery, and it went from having a battery certificate that showed the battery there was something wrong with it. to no battery health certificate, to a battery health certificate that showed it was good, but having a little note, having a little note in the write-up that said the battery was defective. That was 33,300 and it went up. This is cap clean, and it went up to 37,000. So last month in the auction, people were asking less than cap, and now they've put it up. So they'll just be asking more less than cap. Or they'll just be asking a lot less than cap instead of just 1,000 or so. Without targeted government intervention for the used market, the entire electric vehicle sector risks stagnation or worse, collapse. It's already collapsed. It's dead. It's on a ventilator. You know, when people, I don't want to make fun of this, but when people brain dead and they keep them alive, a machine doing the breathing for them, but they're dead. EV sales are on a ventilator. And this is not just about vehicle pricing. Infrastructure is still lagging woefully behind. I'd have to disagree with that. I don't think it is. I think if you're a sensible person and you do plan your route, then, you know, I can make an EV with 45-mile range work for me round town, because that's all I do now. Probably everybody where I live, say about 60% of them, could manage with a Citroen Ami like me. Of the 68 million government allocation for local charging, only 25 million is being directed to help councils deliver on-road and cross-pavement solutions. That simply isn't enough to give consumers confidence in making the switch. There are already highly attractive incentives in place for fleets and their drivers or employees to acquire new EVs. Exactly. The registration data clearly reflects this. Fleet and business sales are currently at an all-time high, accounting for around 62% of the market, while private sales remain below 39%. This strong performance in the fleet sector has been driven in large part by the uptake of salary sacrifice schemes. In the BCH market, 54% of new orders are for EVs, and in many of the largest fleets, the EV mix is now approaching 100%. Employees with access to these schemes, many of whom are within government bodies such as the NHS and local authorities, benefit from substantial tax advantages. While the upcoming introduction of VED on EVs may have some impact, there are still a number of incentives in play. These include workplace charging schemes and the newly announced EV subsidy of up to $3,750, which applies to leased vehicles and therefore supports salary sacrifice via BCH, business contract hire agreements. In short, the current set of incentives for fleet EV is working and doesn't require major adjustment. However, further support for used EVs would make a real difference. Introducing incentives here would encourage funders to take greater risks when setting residual values, which in turn would bring down rental costs and make EVs more accessible. They already get them at half price, okay? Half price. Probably more, and they want further incentives. Introducing incentives here would encourage funders to take greater risks when setting residual values, which in turn would bring down rental costs and make EVs more accessible. Price competitiveness will also play a role, especially as more OEMs, particularly from China, we don't want Chinese vehicles, thanks very much, enter the market, because don't forget also Chinese vehicles, EVs are dirtier than ICE cars to produce. Take 23,500 miles to pay back the CO2 to become carbon neutral, but the ones from China take nearly twice as long, according to my research and information and ChatGPT. Finally, charging infrastructure remains a key factor. Continued development and better access to charging both for fleet users and private drivers would provide a much needed boost to both the fleet and retail market. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.